People often ask me how I became a painter, and I said quite often that I started very late, really late, at the age of 69 exactly, which was 4 years ago. But today I'm going to tell you the entire story. And that journey began when I stumbled upon Amanda Wright, a designer of greeting cards from North Carolina. She was also a photographer, and on her blog, she described the accident she had while editing her own photographs from Iceland. She mistakenly resized one of her pictures to 15 pixels wide instead of 1500 pixels wide. But instead of discarding the mistake, she said she was struck by the beauty of the simplified blocks of colors because it still captured the mood of the original photo. This mistake gave an idea to create a watercolor painting based on that simplified image of pixelized photo. She even created a tutorial that showed step by step how she did it. She showed how she created first a grid on paper, and she described and even showed how she carefully painted each square separately. And this is how I began my artistic journey. Because the beautiful results of her painting inspired me to start my own adventure. And I would be forever grateful to Amanda that I stumbled upon her story. I couldn't find a painting to hang above my sofa. And many times, as I was looking at various paintings, as a production and graphics, and various abstract paintings, it crossed my mind that perhaps I could paint something myself. But it just crossed my mind, and for obvious reasons, I never did anything, it never materialized. So I kept looking. I tried to find something in TJ Maxx and other usual places, including online, visited even local galleries, but everything I saw was not right size, not right colors, and if I found something that was right size and right colors, it was totally out of my price range. And I was looking just for a picture above the sofa, not for an investment. So when I found that Amanda's step by step instruction, the idea of creating a painting myself came back to me because the process she described felt simple enough to believe that I could do something like that. And it was really enticing that finally I will have a piece of art, perfect size, perfect color for that space above the sofa in living room. Painting above the sofa. I'm laughing about it because it reminds me it is something that artists don't want to hear, and most of them consider it sort of blasphemy. I know because when I was young and still living in Poland, my boyfriend was an artist, and most of my friends were artists at that time, painters, musicians. Some of them later became very famous. I myself was a journalist and aspiring writer, and I must add this was one of the best times of my life. Looking back, I'm pretty sure that a lot of my creativity today comes from being in this artistic circle. I must have absorbed a lot of knowledge about art just by osmosis. But back to my story. As I read Amanda's blog, I felt I could do exactly the same she did on the larger scale with acrylics. After a lot of searching and thinking, I decided to create a piece based on a painting of one of my favorite artists, Itzhak Tarkay, titled Haifa by the Sea. It had the perfect color combination I was looking for. But there was a problem. I needed something about 80 inches wide. And now I realized that such a huge painting might be too difficult for me. So I decided to divide that painting in three parts to create a large triptych that would give me that massive size I needed to hang above the sofa. And so it all began. I bought three large canvases, each 36 by 24 inches, and diligently followed Amanda's instruction. First, I digitized the turquoise painting and divided that digitized image into three equal parts. Then I counted how many squares I need and created a grid on each of those canvases. Although process was a little tedious, from the start I was very confident I can do it, and I believe that anyone could do it too. It was basically paint by the numbers game, but it still gave me a lot of opportunity to express myself, and it was a great adventure. I started to have more fun than I expected. As I progressed, I started to see the image taking shape, and it was very, very fulfilling. It took a while, I don't remember exactly, but it was about 2 or 3 weeks time before I finished. Once when the painting was done, I felt incredibly satisfied. And that satisfaction was not just because I got a painting. I felt a deep sense of accomplishment. It turned out that I enjoyed the process of painting so much that now I didn't want to stop. I discovered a joy of painting, so I decided to paint another one. My next piece was also a digitized version of famous painting based on irises of Van Gogh. And it was a larger painting, 48 inches tall, 36 inches wide. And when I finished that painting, I realized that in Pelican Cove, a community where I live, was just announced annual art show. So I decided to show my irises. Then I learned that I can show not only one painting, but two. Well, I didn't have a second painting, and I didn't want to take the painting from above sofa, that triptych, to show, but there was still 3 weeks time before the submission period was ending. So I decided, oh heck, let's paint another piece. Believe it or not, I had no idea what to paint. So I challenged myself to create something entirely from my own imagination. It was a completely new experience for me because until now, I was relying on pictures and grids, and colors were already on the paper, and I was just recreating it. But I trusted myself and took a leap of faith and started to paint from imagination. This time I didn't paint squares. This is when I first created those shapes that you can see now on many of my paintings. But I stayed with strong, vivid colors and with that hard edge technique, which at that time I had no idea that there's actually a name for that technique. The process resulted in the painting I named the Sarasota Sunset. The Sarasota Sunset marked a turning point in my artistic journey, and submitting it to the art show was a pivotal moment in my life. Look, I participated in this show just to get some feedback. This was only my second and third painting, technically fourth and fifth if we count the triptych. I was there just to see if what I'm painting compares somehow in quality to what other artists are doing. Then I learned that the organizers liked my work so much that they decided to place it in the prime spot, right at the entry. There were more surprises. I found out next day that the Sarasota Sunset got sold. This, of course, encouraged me even more. So now here I am. 4 years later, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I don't even try to get back to sleep, just sneak into my studio to paint a little. Last December, I had my first solo exhibition where I displayed 63 of my paintings, and people keep buying my work, which of course validates me even further. But you know what's most important part of the story? If I, with no experience, with no prior inclinations to paint, if I could dive into this and find success, then trust me, anyone can do it, and that includes you. So go ahead, pick up a brush and start creating, because you can do it, and you too might just surprise yourself and discover a world full of new possibilities. That's all what I have for today. If you like the story, please click the like below and subscribe to this channel if you would like to hear another story coming next week. I'm Wanda Loscott, sending you sunny greetings from Sarasota, Florida. Bye-bye.